Happy Friday. All right, then welcome to Rombe Uncensored. It's good to see everyone. And I want to say it's your first time to be here. I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. But if you're my regulars, my buddies, my family, my everything, I want to say shout out to you. And make sure that you stick around because we are having fun. Right, so the long-awaited one, Sadc issued its final report condemning the 3rd August SHAM election. And here's the thing, ED confirmed election rigging. You know, they always say that when you're forgetting about everything, when you're too comfortable, and you know when people are getting younger, you know, they're getting younger and they're acting like babies. That's exactly where we are now with ED. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to make sure that you like the live as we move along, and also make sure that you comment because we need to do this together. Let's have a conversation. Where to from here now that the report is out? So we're going to go through the report and also get to hear what other people are saying about this report. Yeah, let's go quickly to have a look at our trending stories. Shout out everybody. Hi Nessa, good to see you guys. Make sure you're sending me some love. Okay, don't forget that. Send some love because that's what we are here for. All right, so let's go quickly and check what's up on Twitter, the trends. Quickly, Twitter trends are literally like the goal that we need to have a look at. It's Happy Friday, everybody. It's Friday. All right, a quick one. Harare definitely trending, like always. Harare is always trending. And I don't know really what's going on in Harare right now. Let's have a look. Why is Harare trending? Okay, guys, by the way, I just want to shout out and say my condolences. Really, the young man, you know, Mapanzure. Please, guys, trust me, Gary, may his soul rest in eternal peace. The young man, and the one thing that I want to say is that we really need to fix the roads. Our young people are leaving, and it's quite heartbreaking. To be honest, it's heartbreaking. That's young students as well that we're racing, notwithstanding the racing, but we must remember that these youngsters are the future of tomorrow, so we need them, all right? We need each other. Let's go and have a look again quickly that Mashingo 2 is trending, definitely because of Gary, because that's where he had an accident there. So my condolences are really to him. Very young guy, only 25 years old. That's a baby, guys. 25 years old. That's a child. But he lost his life. He went home to be with the Lord very early. Really, really young man. May your soul rest in eternal peace. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. Really, not good news at all. Not good news at all. All right. So moving right along, let's get in because I'm going to tell you, I think I'm going to start here by Mr. Mnangagwa because Mr. Mnangagwa really confirmed, oh, by the way, before I move forward to Mr. Mnangagwa, let me remind you the demonstrations that are going to be happening on the 21st of October. If you're in Pretoria, Johannesburg, anyway, South Africa, I'm sure people are going to be traveling from different corners of South Africa to this, you know, march. I'm going to be there as well, time from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's going to be a good one. We'll be marching on our way to Union Building in Pretoria. Definitely have to ask and say, we've had enough. We want a solution for our country. Zimbabwe is definitely on top of the talk in town because we want to see peace prevail in our nation. Very important. So please don't forget, guys, because I can also meet you there. We're gonna have fun, right? Don't forget, Zimbabwe is our land. So we're going to do everything in our power to fight for what belongs to us. Is our land, the land of our ancestors, our fathers, our moms. Okay, so breaking, guys. You know, so Citizen Coalition for Change open a case against Songezo. So they said the Citizen Coalition for Changes today filed a criminal report against Songezo Shabangu, who claimed to be the party's interim Secretary General and got 15 MPs, 9 senators, and 17 councillors recalled. Triple C leader Nelson Chamisa is accused Shabangu of misrepresentation. Completely agreed, he is misrepresenting our party, right? Because you and me, if you are for Citizen Coalition for Change, we are being misrepresented by this brother called Shabangu, really delaying our peace and love, right? So they also attached the polity report. What do you call it? The report number when you the case number, right? Just RRB I think it's triple S or 5. I'm not sure. 1290 because the handwriting is quite tricky. ZRP Milton Park. That's where they opened the case. Okay, so we all know that ED confirmed that he actually rigged election. So in a confession, I'm frightened that I'm meeting CEOs. That's ED. I'm meeting men and women of great minds. ED was saying, I'm afraid people who have succeeded in life and are at the top. But of course, without election, which is because they're on the top because there's no election when you're becoming a CEO, because you literally be there. Because I'm a CEO, so I know exactly what he's talking about, you know, but CEO comes with a lot of responsibilities. It's not always about the money, especially when an entrepreneur. It's a lot of work. I'm going to be honest, it's a lot of work. So, but of course, without an election, which is good because elections you rig. ED said that. And people were laughing and clapping hands. I've never seen such stupidity like that. I was furious. Saying, you see why? Do you know what, when a person is getting younger in life and everything that they do, you laugh, it's like you're doing it for a child. If everything wrong that the child does, you laugh, what you're trying to do is you're promoting it. So Zimbabweans are laughing whenever ED is saying things that are stupid. What they don't realize is that they're actually promoting such behavior. Guys, I'm going to ask you to like the live. Please make sure that you like the live so that you can push algorithm. Now, so he said, which is good because elections you rig. I doubt whether there's any rigging with the CEOs. It's on merit. These words are from ED. President Mnangagwa and Victor Falls. He said in Victoria Falls. Take a listen, please. Very important. Take a listen from the words of ED.
People who have succeeded in life and are at the top. I can mean that I am meeting CEOs, meaning people who have succeeded in life and are at the top. But of course, without election. Which is good. Because in elections you rig. I doubt whether there's any rigging with CEOs. I think it's a merit. So I am talking to people who have to talk by merit. Further, I hope that
You heard him. I'm talking to people on the top by merit, which means you're a CEO by merit. But you know, but elections you can rig if you want to. So it is confirming you can do as you please as long as you're in control. I also don't understand why is it a president who's supposed to be part of the contestants, he has to be given such an upper hand during an election time. To me, it doesn't make sense. Like I'm sitting and I'm like, everything that needs to be done, it comes from him, but he's also a contestant. I mean, what do you expect in a situation like that? Definitely, he's going to rig. I mean, is there any way he's going to vote himself out? Is there any way he's going to call himself a loser? I'm just saying, I don't know what these elections are all about. Surely some of the systems we are using don't really make sense. You know what I mean? You heard him, elections you can rig. And people are laughing. What's funny there? What is funny? When a man is claiming to rig election, that is keep on you in poverty, you and me in poverty, and you are laughing. Very sad indeed. I guess we don't know what to laugh and what not to laugh anymore. You know, I guess that's the problem with our people. All right. So here we are, guys. We are definitely going to be discussing about the Sadc final report. You and me, we're going to have this conversation. So I'd like you guys to come in. Let's talk. Very important. Now we have the report right in front of us. I'm going to be picking up some pieces that are more important regarding the conclusion of Sadc and also some of their findings, which is so crucial for us to understand the way forward. All right, so Newswalks reported that Sadc stands its ground on Zimbabwe. Definitely, after the ruling, Zanu PF and Zimbabwean government officials noisy hissing, frothing at the mouth and cursing, trying to intimidate the Zambians and the region in a desperate pushback. The Southern African Development Community, SADC, has firmly stood its ground in its final election observer mission report, saying the recent election Zimbabwean poll did not meet expected benchmarks set by the country's constitution, Electoral Act, and the SADC principles and guidelines governing democratic elections. This means the elections were not free, fair, transparent, and credible, hence the rejection. Upholding the Zimbabwean constitution, SADC has those who are aggravated by the stolen elections should follow the legal process or route to challenge the outcome. So, Zanu PF that are saying, oh, SADC is lying, please, you're more than welcome to follow the right procedures if you want to challenge their findings. We also heard last week that the EU are going to release their final report this coming November. And you know how angry EU was after after Zanu PF began to humiliate them, disrespected them. They decided to pull out their funding, hoping that Zimbabwe will reform itself and they can also still inject money towards elections. So people have been saying, if we want to do fresh elections, what are we going to do with the funds? EU is still open to fund the election. The only thing they need are systems that work, and also ZEC to be disbanded because they are very unprofessional. First of all, I don't think there's any ZEC thing, because since this election, you have never heard nothing from ZEC. Absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely nothing. So what we need to do is to keep our focus right now as we go through this. So I'm going to go through section 12, SADC Electoral Observer Mission Recommendations. So 12.1, to support the successful holding of democratic elections in the Republic of Zimbabwe, the SEOM makes the following recommendations for consideration by the government, ZEC, and other stakeholders. The SEOM reiterates the urgent need for all stakeholders to consider and implement outstanding recommendations that were made following the 2018 electoral cycle. These recommendations were designed to enhance the Zimbabwe electoral process, address recurrent stakeholders' concerns, and align the electoral process to key constitutional and regional requirements. In this context, the CEOM highlights the following recommendations arise from its report of 2018. So this is what happened. There was a report that was done in 2018, immediately after elections. And then SADC recommended that we implement or we enroll certain principles when conducting our 2023 elections. However, all those recommendations were never met by Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. So point number 1A, legal framework. So the mission urges the government of Zimbabwe to consider expediting alignment of outstanding aspects of the electoral law to the constitution as reflected in the report of the SEOM in 2018. So this is quite very interesting. So 2018, there were recommendations, but they were never adhered to by Zimbabwe Electoral Commission. That's where we are going now to find out what is really the reason then. What was the reason why we went on with elections, considering that all the recommendations were never met? So point number B is public communication by ZEC. Given the concerns raised by certain stakeholders on the alleged partiality of the ZEC, the mission calls on ZEC to consider adopting a proactive communication strategy which engages stakeholders at every relevant stage of the electoral processes in order to build confidence and sense of ownership among its key stakeholders and the general public. So there was never really communication. We know, I mean, first of all, we have ZBC, which is Zanu, people say it's no Zanu PF Broadcast Corporation. And also people are saying, what's the point of paying license if it's only focused on promoting Zanu PF? If it is a state media, it should cater for almost every stakeholder in Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, it is being controlled and manipulated by Zanu PF. And also here we are, there was never really good communication between Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and other political parties. You remember, many communications were done. Citizen Coalition for Change, other political players were complaining that they would take time before they even get response. And when they get response, it's all here and say it was just not clear. But we know why, because they were on their way to the rigging machinery. So they knew everything was premeditated. The actions were definitely aligning with the mission. They knew what they wanted to do was definitely to rig the elections. Number C was postal voting. You know, when they talk about postal voting, the mission is the ZAC to conduct a sensitization programs regarding postal voting, particularly related to its modalities and management. The mission urges the authorities to ensure that postal voting is conducted in private to guarantee the secrecy of the vote. First and foremost, that ZEC thing should be disbanded. Honestly, I don't know if there ever been elections in Zimbabwe, or we are just literally playing games. When I go through this, we all know this never happened. We just heard that people voted, but no one even saw. No one saw those envelopes or what really happened. We just heard people voted, and we also heard that the police, the army were voting against Mr. Mnangagwa. Nobody's seen the results. We just heard people voted. So definitely there was no transparency, even though that was recommended in 2018. And we are referring to 2013. Now, diaspora vote, we know nothing happened to diaspora. The mission advised that consideration should be given to permit voting by Zimbabweans in the diaspora. Was there diaspora vote? They said, no, it's not possible. But we also remember that Zambia had diaspora vote. So when people start to compare Zambia and Zimbabwe, I always find it very weird, because Zambia and Zimbabwe are two different countries. I've told you that whether Malawi has got its own problem, we can never compare with Zimbabwe. The challenge of Zimbabwe is that we know what's right. We know we have the capacity to change it, but unfortunately we are kept at ransom. That's the problem. We know our problems. We have capacity to change them, but we are kept at ransom. There's a difference. Whereas when you consider other countries, you may see that there's incompetence. Where you find that the countries don't really have the people who are capable. And because they know it's their failure, it's okay if I'm in a situation knowing that I'm not capacitated, or I'm not able. What do? I just find peace in my situation. But Zimbabwe is different. We know what it takes to change the country. We know we are rich. We've got all that we need to better our country. But unfortunately, there are people who are saying, no, you can't do it. We are getting there. We are getting there. I'm going there. We're going to get there. Now, with the media as well. So the mission advised the ZEC and the Media Commission to ensure that the Constitution and electoral law are enforced with respect to the conduct of the media. That was recommended in 2018. Now we are 2023. Nothing happened. They were never implemented. We're still having Zanu PF Broadcast Corporation do its own thing as we speak. Yesterday, I was laughing on Twitter because I saw that the people that went to drop letters for Citizen Coalition for Change, and boom, the pictures were taken in ZBC went and report that some of Triple C people attended the parliament, and it was not true. They just went to deliver a letter. Since whenever they send emails, there's no response. So now we give you in person. So let's hear you. What will be your excuse? Because we've given you the letter in person. But because they thrive on propaganda, it's very shocking, guys. Honestly, Zimbabweans, we are just going absolutely nowhere. They are still indulging in propaganda. Even after claim to win elections, what is that supposed to tell you? They have no capacity to lead. They have no capacity whatsoever to lead, neither to change. F, that is time frame, within which legislative election results must be announced. So Section 68 of the Electoral Act should be aligned with Section 110, subsection 3, H of the same Act to ensure a maximum time period within which the results of parliamentary elections must be announced. So this, we're talking about the time frame to announce elections. But you can't announce when there's never an election. There was never an election. So, yeah. Now, 12.3, in addition to the above recommendations arising from 2018, the SEOM makes the following recommendations based on its observations of the 2023 election cycle. So now, they have come through the observed 2023 election, and this is their recommendations now. So in my opinion, or in my understanding, the recommendations are based on what's going to be happening in 2028 then. That's our upcoming election, based on what they've said here, but we're going somewhere, so stick around. Now, the same recommendations that were given in 2018, hoping that that could have been implemented in 2023, were never implemented. It became worse. Now we're in 2023. I'm going to read their recommendations before we get to where we are going right now. So point A, the legal framework. So the mission urges the government of Zimbabwe to consider making provision for stakeholder engagement in the design of ballot papers for transparency. The last time there was a ballot papers, no one knew. We only realized that we only had later on, very close to election, that they were actually done by Chivayo. No, after the dilemma, then Ali had to drop the bomb on social media. When he dropped it, when I said who printed, because you mentioned that you knew who printed the ballot paper. Apparently, that work or the assignment was given to Wikine Chivayo to print a ballot paper, and nobody knew. It means it was within the parameters of Zanu PF elites. They just took the money, pay each other, and claimed that they've done the work, and there was chaos on election day. Point number 2 is having clear timelines for the provision of the voters' roll and information on the ballot paper. The voters' roll was never given on time, even though the recommendations were done in 2018. We found ourselves in 2023 in the same situation where those recommendations were never adhered to. So point B, independence of the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission. It must be independent. First and foremost, they employ each other and you expect it to be independent. So these are recommendations. Now, in event that the concerns from stakeholders that some ZEC commissioners are closely related to the senior members of the ruling party are found to be true, there's a risk of violation section 11.2 of the Electoral Act and section 4.1.9 of the Sadc principles and guidelines. SEOM, therefore, recommends that such practice be considered as one of the disqualification criteria in the recruitment of ZEC officials. So they're saying they found out that most of the people working for ZEC were actually Zanu PF's relatives. So with that being said, they're saying that alone disqualifies the poll. You cannot employ your child in when you're also a competitor. You know what happened? You saw later on when the other vice president, quote unquote, what's his name? What's his name? I don't even know their names because they're not important in my life. Well, I don't know what's his name, that guy, that old man with glasses, that one. What's sexual, stories. What's his name? Please remind me in the comment section. I'm not a person who carry toxicity, nonsense people. I really put them in my head. I don't have time for that thing. But that man, that other old man, his daughter, they all relatives there, Mankwana's families, all those kids were sitting like gods. They're all bodies. So pretty much that disqualifies the poll. The fact that Zimbabwe Electoral Commission employs its children, and it's Zanu PF elites, babies, definitely that disqualifies the poll. Number C is voters' roll. The mission is the ZEC to avail the voters' roll to stakeholders, to allow each time for inspection and verification in line with the Electoral Act. It never happened, and they still recommend that should be done in future. Which future? I'm sure they're talking about 2028. Bear in mind, we are going somewhere. So women and gender parity, Mohadi, thank you, Mohadi, yes, Mohadi, that old man. Like I say to you, I would know other countries' vice president, but the Zimbabwean thing is all toxicity, so I don't have time. They're not important to me, really they're not. Okay, women and gender parity. So in line with the Constitution of Zimbabwe and the Sadc Protocol on Gender and Development of 2008, the SOM encourages all stakeholders, including political parties, to review the political and social environment with a view to promoting women in positions of political leadership and governing structures towards gender and parity, which again is still a threat, because you remember last time when we were doing by-elections that some of our mothers were stripped naked in Blawayo by young boys and young girls. Do you remember our old people that were beaten up in the rural? If I don't, was it not Murewa, man? I don't remember the area where our old people were being beaten up. How do you expect women to be part and parcel of those areas which are so toxic? So the challenge is not how women can be able to be in leadership. No, women are leaders in general. Some can even lead better, and men are also incredible in leadership as well. But the environment in Zimbabwe is toxic to accommodate women. Because I can only imagine if you're a mom, even a single person, every time you go home, your life is You're being followed wherever you go. You don't have freedom of speech. You're being accused of relationships that you never have. They you know, intentionally create some or edit some videos accusing you of being a prostitute. How on earth will you be part and parcel of such? Who wants to be in such a nonsense space? Nobody wants to be there. One of the reasons why women do not want to be part of that. But I just want you guys to, let's go through, or let's take a listen to the presser that Zanu PF had yesterday before we move forward, please. And you know that was Chris Muchangwa, one of the most disrespectful men in Zimbabwe is Chris Muchangwa. He is such a disgusting person, human, disgusting. He's a father who has no respect for himself. He is very and this presser, I mean, the whole presser, he was just there talking about Nelson Chamisa. There was nothing about Zanu PF. It was just Nelson Chamisa. Every time Zanu PF sits on a presser, Nelson Chamisa. Now you tell me that is not important. The dude is very important. Nelson Chamisa, you know, he's important to Zanu PF. They can say, no, we are stronger. They are not. Even after rigging election, they still feel unworthy. If you spend your time talking about someone else, means that you have nothing else to offer. You literally just focus on the other person. You really have nothing to offer in your life. Take a listen, please.
Open Society Institute of Southern Africa and Crisis Coalition, that outfit from Brussels, which is there to effect regime change in Zimbabwe. They acknowledge, then they are all their professors who are at various universities in South Africa, they acknowledge that Chamisa's undoing, his Achilles heel, is his refusal to run the party the way parties are run all over the world. That is his undoing. It's his problem, this issue. So we want to say, keep your hands away from our speaker. If your house which is not in order, if the speaker is only complying to a letter which in the first instance should not even have reached the parliament, because NDC, CCC is in parliament, they should have the vigilance to know that among their party membership somebody is doing something wrong.
Okay, first of all, he said, get your hands off our speaker. Get your hands off our speaker, which means the Speaker of Parliament, Mudenda, is their speaker. It's not a Zimbabwean speaker, it's Zanu PF speaker. So as I said, take your hands off our speaker. So let's put that in mind.
Same vigilance which we had in Zanu PF against Msengezi, and we quickly took him to court to say this man is masquerading. We let him improve his credentials. We asked the CCC, before they start throwing brickbats at the speaker, they should first put their house in order. That's all we want to state here. This conduct by CCC comes in the wake of the party having tried to abuse Sadc. They have an individual. Among many Zambians, it's a big population of probably 15 million, if not more. It's more. One individual called Nevas Mumba, he comes here because he has been nominated by his president, who is chairing Sadc, a Sadc committee. He has his agenda with his friends who are preachers in CCC, and he has his cheerleaders from outside the region, which is the EU and other countries. Now, he decided to give a verdict about Zimbabwe's elections, which has nothing to do with what's happening on the ground. Fortunately, Sadc does not operate like that. It has heads of states, and one of them, South Africa, it has a party, which is a revolution. They send their own representatives, and they observe the elections, and they are happy. Now, this man wants to say, I can tell heads of states, I can instruct heads of state of Sadc to follow me. Who are you, Nevas Mumba, to force all these presidents to follow you and give a blank check condemnation of the Zimbabwe elections? They don't do that. Now, because then the CCC decides to dispatch their own delegation to Sadc in order to canvass for the support of Nevas Mumba. They send Gladys Kachwao and Jameson Timber. And they come back with a blind dates in all the Sadc states. Nobody gives them a hearing. they come back home empty-handed. So rather than acknowledge that they failed to convince Sadc, they then want to create mayhem within the country in order to give the impression to force Sadc to take their position. Now, this is not right. You know, you are a government in waiting and you are a prospective president. You want to bulldoze your way through sovereign heads of states to say, you take my way or the highway. That's Chamisa. We're Cyril Ramaphosa. Listen to me, Chamisa, through Nevers Mumba, my spokesperson on elections. If you don't, it's the highway. President Lorenzo of Angola, President Zulu of Tanzania, all of them are being told by Chamisa, you follow my way or the highway. Who are you to tell sovereign states which came into a Sadc union voluntarily to say you do things my own way? So he draws a blank. Then, like a peeved child, he starts shenanigans within the country in order to create an impression that things are disorderly. And all because he's trying to give a pretext to his outside backers to say things are not well in Zimbabwe. Why do you want to pride yourself in showing that your country should become a victim of disorder, a victim of interference by other countries, the same country which you want to rule? So it clearly shows that his bona fides as a Democrat are not there. We are having a tin pot dictator within the CCC. That's what he is. A tin pot dictator within CCC who is aspiring to make the country behave the same way that his party behaves. But I told you, Zimbabweans are structured people. They will not do things that way. They reject the disorderliness of the CCC. Now,
all right, so first and foremost, it's all CCC that we heard. I told you that as much as Zanu PF is saying they're strong, they are not strong. They know that their illegitimacy is literally, is pushing them to the edge. They're sitting on a time bomb. That's for a fact. So now it's Chamisa 24/7 that they discuss. It's accusing him of influencing Sadc. And they also in the same breath question him, who are you to influence Sadc? He never influenced Sadc. The bottom line is that there's definitely going to be a summit. That's the bottom line. So whether he likes it or he doesn't like it, the fact that the final report came through, they have to give you a final report. And now mentioning that every recommendation that was sent in 2018 was never respected. Nothing. They never did nothing. All the recommendations fell short. Zimbabwe Electoral Commission fell short. It was seen in black and white, so now they're waiting for EU to send their final report as well. Then from there, there's definitely going to be what's the way forward for Zimbabwe. But let's move in now, because now one thing that I've realized about us that I think we need to start working on a psychological thing. I'm a person who believes in, prevention is better than cure. But I also acknowledge and I also realize that there are people that can only operate from toxicity. I think you all know, I'm a person who believes that we can sit around the table and say A, B, C, D. We can put it in black and white and I'll follow the script. I'm that kind of person. I don't believe in you can do whatever you want and if you didn't see if it's going to work or not. I'm a firm believer that if you want to succeed in life, there's a way that you approach life. It's the time that you wake up. It's how you act, how you respect people next closer to you, how you also respect those that you're working with. There's a lot. If you want a successful marriage, you have to be intentional. There's not that, maybe it will work or not. I've always seen people who says, no, you never know. You're just going to try. I don't believe in that. That's why people are divorcing every day. There's nothing called we are going to try and see if it's going to work. There's nothing like that. You have to be intentional. What are you getting into that relationship for? Are you prepared to fail or you're prepared to win? If you're prepared to win, you win. There's no doubt about that. Last night I was talking about a man that you all know, Masiwa. I was talking to my family. I said, truth be told, he was not going to be a billionaire if he was not intentional. He was not going to be a successful father and a successful wife if he was not intentional. If he was going after every woman in the street, he's a very successful man. He can afford to pick up whoever he wants, but takes intentionality and commitment to life to succeed. We all can agree that there is no way, as a Zimbabwean people, we think that we can just succeed from nowhere. It takes wisdom, it takes us intentionality to get to where you want to be. But one thing that we must get rid of is a mentality of operating from blood spill. We have been a community, and I understand some people can argue. I had a conversation with someone who has been in Zanu PF, said the problem is that Mnangagwas get used to bush politics. Mnangagwa and his cabal are used to bush politics of fights and arguments. It's always about kutsimbirana. Because I don't, if you can say they are used to a toxic life, I don't believe it. But you know why I don't believe it? Because in their homes, they're not living a toxic life. Mnangagwa couldn't be, if you was toxic at home, you wouldn't be where he is now with his sons and whatever. No, at home he's a good father. They know him being an amazing daddy. It's only when he comes out, then he's pressing you and me down. He does what he wants with our lives. But at home, he's a very good father. He's a selfish man. So in other words, is that they consider him a selfish man. But one thing that I do not want is for us to think that we can operate from blood spill. Everyone say, no, I'm going somewhere, blood spill. Top front spill of blood in order for people to know that we've got a problem. Sadc is not going to operate that way. Sadc is not going to be aggressive. They are very diplomatic people. Hichilema is diplomatic. If you want to resolve an issue, there must be proper channels. For those that have been working with attorneys can tell you, attorneys, you can get in there screaming and shouting and hit the wall. They'll just look at you. Look at you. Because what he considers is the law. What does the law says versus the truth? Or whatever you are saying, and how can I help you? So whether you're going to be crying and scream, they don't care. It's a provision. So because Hichilema is a diplomatic man, he's a professional man, he doesn't operate like this violence that you always get used to. You want violence, relax. If you want to see a better Zimbabwe, if you want us to resolve issues without the spill of blood, then we must follow the process. Now, my brother Brighton here to drop an analysis on the issue. After Hopewell posted that no, it's over. Hopewell is a journalist. I want to get this. He's a journalist. And sometimes he may have a good point, but you must also remember that he's giving you his own opinion. Right? It's his own opinion. But he said that no, this is over. They've told you whatever they said. It's not over. No one said it is over. Nobody. There are so many requests on the table. You know what happened with Dr. Ibo Mandaza too. They're also working on on a transitional government. There are so many things that are on the table right now as we speak. You also heard Chamisa said, I'm extending my hand to Zanu PF if we can have a discussion. Because you know what, our elders in the country, the church, they're saying we need to talk. And you know what, I will be sitting on the other end of saying we need to talk. I'll tell you why. I think for us as Zimbabweans, we need to understand that our communication as a Zimbabwean people around the table together and come up with a solution is actually to our own benefit, so that in future when we are stuck, we can still bounce back to ourselves. But if we are used to always have external influence, the challenge is external influence depending on the characteristic of a person. We struggled last time when we blamed Mbeki when he came through because he was, he got some favors in Jonathan and Obasanjo as well. And then they did not act in our favor. Why? Because they are human beings. Before they become a Sadc, a Sadc people, they are individuals who have their own characteristics. So if they are not strong enough to be able to stand for truth, they're going to shake still. They're going to shake. So I am a firm believer that if we push an agenda of discussion among us as Zimbabweans, it will be for our own benefit. We are going to set a precedence for our children and generations to come after us to know that we can always bounce back. Now we can create a conducive environment of elders who are always going to be there to help our children. So for example, I'm not an elder, but definitely in the next 20, 25 years, I'm going to be an elder. All right, 25, 30 years, I'll be an elder. So if there can be challenges of this nature, I should be able to say, hey, let's go back and let's go sit down around the table and find a solution, right? Because we understand that these are our children. They are stuck. Let's work together. You can also be of a blessing. We come and talk. We don't have such in Zimbabwe right now. And I respect Ibo Mandaza, who's pushing that agenda. Very important. It will help us to have a balanced society. that believes and respect our elders. Now, Brighton was definitely against the submissions of Hope Machine that it is over, because it's not over. It's not over until God says it's over. So I said the blood on the floor syndrome, right? Like I said, we are used to fights. And there are people who can only operate from a fighting point of view, right? And I've always say it is very toxic to be such kind of a person. I've been in situations where I talk to a person that I don't like something, and they hear me, but they will repeat again. I'll tell them I don't like it. And I'll repeat the third time, I do not like it. But some people keep repeating it. You know why? They can only operating from toxicity. So what they want is my reaction in anger, then they will respond. But because I can't operate from anger, I struggle and I get hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt. Until sometimes I have to refrain, because that's the only way I can free myself. Now, this is the syndrome that most of us we have in Zimbabwe, is the blood on the floor syndrome. Let's act when people are dead. Let's act when our brothers are cut their hands, when they are sick. We have to do away with that culture by all means. So I said, my brother, I think he's replying to Oposhingo, but when I study his analysis, I think Sadc has done a great job under extremely challenging circumstances. Agreed. It has gone as far as it could given the diplomatic constraints involved. There are unconfirmed reports from credible sources that suggest that the regime could have successfully compromised other influential figures in Sadc. We know they're very close to Ramaphosa, because I'm going to cover that story this afternoon, of Ramaphosa's relationship with ED. That is not causing a stain in South Africa. People are saying you have intentions to rig elections in 2024. So I'm going to cover that story this afternoon. It is clear from the conclusions that Sadc reached that some same domestic remedies it's referring to are captured, incapable of providing adequate redress to transgressions. The mass hysteria that Zanu PF directed at Mumba Hichilema meant that he could not single-handedly propose that would amount to a revolutionary shift, that of pushing for a fresh election or a political settlement. The biggest constraint has been the absence of blood on the floor. I heard people saying that the blood on the floor or raising of the political temperature on the ground through mass protest to exact a telling political cost for ED's unrelenting streak of mild violence. Although Sadc protocols refer to the importance of taking preemptive measures and intervening in the situation similar, what is currently obtaining Zimbabwe, the political reality is that as an institution in escalation appears to only materialize when the earth is soaked in blood. Dangerous game. There must be blood on the floor for the people to react. I think Mapuri said the same thing. People are doing the same thing in relationships, and I'm talking to those that are in toxic relationships. Now, hear me out. As your sister, there are people like that in this space. As I'm speaking right now, you can see that your relationship is going absolutely nowhere. Munorwa, every time. You're always fighting. There's no peace in that relationship. And what you're waiting for is saying that in just marriage, you're waiting for you to hate each other so that people can react. Some family members, kids are coming every time telling that she's being abused. Ask those that have come to me for counsel. I'm brutal, yo. The people who came to me for counseling, they'll tell their stories. They tell me, oh, this man is like that. This woman is like that. I'll tell you, why can you leave? That's my point of departure. You know why? I've given you power to be in control. Why are you still there? Why are you still staying? Oh, no, so say that. How do you feel about it? No, but I'm done. You're crying. So leave. Simple. If the person loves you, you follow. If he doesn't, you move on. Anyway, his actions, your action shows that she doesn't, or he doesn't love you. Because a man who is in love, a woman who is in love protects that they love. A man that I love will do anything in my power to protect him. He's my everything. You mess up with my husband, you've messed up with me. Because I'm in love with the person, right? Yes, I breathe the man. Trust me. His success is mine. It's me, it's him. We are one. So I have that understanding. So any person in a relationship where they're being abused, it's a red flag. The person is not in love with you. There's no any other way around. Don't be fooled by those who say, no, every relationship has got problems. No, but they know how to deal with the problems. The problems are meant to happen even in a single life. Challenges are for everyone. That's how we are built. It's how you react to the challenges that matters. So don't be fooled. If you're in abusive relationships, walk away with your dignity. And there's someone who's going to respect your time and respect you as you are. Don't be fooled. It's a lie of the devil. So for those that think we should sit as Zimbabweans and allow this nonsense to happen, they're joking. Keep listening to me. An unfortunate development is that VNA are steeping in selfishness, arrogance, impunity. They only run away from those who have access to the means of terrifying them, such as levers of state power. That's why Zanu PF keeps people in poverty, because when you're poor, you can't fight us. They're believing in using money to fight their own people. So if you're poor, you can't fight us. So that's what they believe in. The next best thing they are likely to respond to are mass street protests. The ones that were exploited to create political theater in the lead up to Bob's disposal. That's why they removed protests in the constitution, because they know that's the only thing that will expose them. So people are afraid if we go to the streets, they'll unleash the army. But trust me, there'll come a time that the army, the police, and the people are going to be after them. That time is coming. I can bet you truth, it's coming. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. You can only abuse people to a certain, for a certain period of time. They've been doing it year after year, decade after decade, and we are watching. And everyone is boiling because this generation can't understand the way they operate. The danger is this generation was not exposed to toxicity as our parents were, because our parents came from Smith, who was brutal. So then their bodies were now immune to the toxicity that they accepted the behavior of Zanu PF. But this generation that is for you and me, we can't stand. We will choose death than to live the way that we're living, unfortunately. So we are going to do everything in our power to fight for what we know is right, our peace. We know what we deserve is a Zimbabwe that we are being treated like human. This nonsense of Zanu PF is not going to last long. It's going to end soon. And I'm telling you facts. Yesterday I was on a Twitter space. People were brutal and angry. Men and women were saying we have had enough. In our society, if you see anyone who is of Zanu PF, play the part. Anybody, and they can talk and be disrespectful like you see Changwa does. When you meet up with them, deal with them. Talk to them. Where you meet up with them, talk to them. That's what people were saying on Twitter yesterday. Very angry. Men were angry, women were upset. There will come a time that we need to understand that if we are not careful, we're going to ruin the future of our children because of few people. Greedy people who are just there because of what they've looted. That's the only reason. They have no capacity to lead. They have no capacity to change. They have no capacity to unify us. They have capacity to keep us at ransom. So we are like kidnapped children. What do we do when you're kidnapped? You want to do everything in your power to come on. The way we are living is like we are kidnapped. So the next best thing that I told is a mass protest, which people are busy planning right now as we speak. It is fair to lament that the opposition has been slow to up the ante, using that as a political weapon, but perhaps with good reason, as it's expected that any such protest will be met with swift, brutal violence. That's the only thing. Zanu PF scripted that in the constitution. You can't protest. If you protest, they will come after you. But now everyone knows why they did it. You see, one of the things that were happening in Zimbabwe before was that they made sure that people didn't have access to information, especially true information. They just wanted people to listen to propaganda. Unfortunately, nobody watches ZBC now. Nobody watches ZBC now. Nobody. People are now, we have got this, you see, we actually the powerful two now. We are the powerful two. You can't say, they can't say this at ZBC. You know what I'm saying? You can't because Zanu PF won't allow you. Right, Zanu PF will not allow you. Oh, Holy Ghost. He won't allow you. So, we are the people. We are the TV. We are the media that you're looking for. You're the media that you're looking for. That's where the truth is being spoken. So they said they are exceptionally cruel and brutal. They can shoot on sight. They can imprison indefinitely. They would have no qualms to prison Chamisa indefinitely. But this is what I'm saying. We should, if we move, I'm saying the whole of Zimbabwe move at once, and then they can all just imprison us. Are we not in prison right now? Are we not in prison? Honestly, are we not in prison? So which prison that's going to pass the prison that we are in right now? We are already in prison. In addition to this, there's a huge question mark about whether or not any peaceful street protests which are permitted under the Constitution can see a massive turnout, and if so, can then be sustained in the face of the inevitable brutality that would ensue. That's the issue of unleashing the army and the police that Zanu PF always use as an ammunition. Now, there also does that they're likely to be plaguing Chamisa. Many opposition supporters protesting under ED's regime is akin to embracing martyrdom. Somewhat bizarrely, and fallout or casualties from such are likely to see the blame laid squarely not on the regime but on the leader of the opposition, like we saw on 1st August 2018. So I think that there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to the issue of mass. Let's just say they unleash the police and the army, which I said, if they unleash the police and the army, the people are going to be hurt. Now, when people are hurt, our hospitals are not capacitated to handle up any casualty. Let's not forget that. So there's a lot of things to consider, but I think the people that should stand with us are the police and the army. Can I tell you, we all know that not all people in the army are eating. Not all in the army are eating. People are suffering in Zimbabwe. The armies are suffering, the police are suffering. I was watching when a CCC was busy. I know when they were busy right now protesting in parliament, remember singing there. Those police that were wearing their, that khaki uniform, and the ladies that were in blue, they were just looking at them with such broken hearts to say, we understand why you're doing what you're doing. That's why they could not help. Did you remember? They were just looking like this saying, we understand you're fighting for us. That's why they to later on call, those ones for the black boots. Because the other ones were like, we understand these people are right. What they're doing, they're right. We don't know how to fight them. We don't know what are we suing them for? They knew. My point is, when the police stands and the army stands with the people, like what happened in which country was it? Oh man, I forgot, man. In the side of India, which country was that? When they went to the president's thing and the army was there, but the army were pushed. Do you remember? That time will come. It will come. It's a matter of time. It will come soon, actually. People will say he knew or ought to have known, foresaw the inevitable of the slaughter that would take place. But they will also mercilessly criticize him for not immediately taking to the streets or dithering. So Chamisa is in the middle. He is blamed for not taking action. He can also be blamed if there can be casualty after the action is done. And this is the interesting part. And the people who are causing us pain, ED should be the one to be blamed. We should talk to, that's what I'm saying, those that are busy laughing where ED, the president, is and laughing, instead of talking to him, talk sense to him, they're not. They're just busy laughing. It's not even funny. There's nothing funny. People are not willing to do what's right. Because remember, if things can be fine in Zimbabwe, not only for opposition, they're going to be fine for everyone. Every Zimbabwean, you're going to be driving on good roads. You're also going to be, going to a clean hospital, functioning facilities. You're also going to be moving around in a Zimbabwe that works. You're going to be having good money. So all of us, we are going to benefit from this. It's not a one or two people. I'm not a politician. I'm really not a politician. But I want to see a Zimbabwe that functions. I traveled to Zimbabwe. I think I've told people the other day. And West thing, my flight was very early in the morning. Yeah, I've never been so traumatized in my lifetime. When we were leaving where we were, the whole, like 6 a.m., the roads were already packed. The cars were not moving. As a matter of fact, the people that I had, may God bless my uncle that was driving the car, this man was driving, the two-way roads, now they are like very thin because the roads are broken. I'm talking of Harare, they're broken. I could not believe what I saw. Now he went all over the place. I think we're coming from the other side of Zimbabwe Park. He went to, I don't know, we found our source on the other side of Greendale there. But we're supposed to come from Zimbabwe Park all the way to the airport. Now, we're all over the whole of Harare trying to find a way to get to the airport. When we got by the airport, thank God, I managed to catch my flight. But when I got there, I was traumatized. The driving was the worst in my lifetime because the roads were a mess. I saw people who left at 6 a.m. They still start work at 8. And I said to myself, guys, bless everyone who's married in Zimbabwe, who's to have a marriage that's standing. But those people, bless when I'm married. Bless them. If you want to, bless them. I'll tell you why. Because you can't have a marriage that works in Zimbabwe with such kind of lifestyle that people are living. Because if you are married, one of my daddy normally, he says in the side of Mount Pleasant, he normally says it takes 2 hours to get home, where he's supposed to be driving 15 minutes because of traffic. When you get home, how are you going to spend time with your family? How are you going to love your wife? How are you going to prepare for the following day to be at work? This is not a joke. When I'm talking about the situation in Zimbabwe, it's not a political issue. This is destroying many people's life. And we think it's a joke. Why we allow the few greedy to do as they please? As a matter of fact, these people are building nice malls to their side, and before you know, they're going to build their own airport. I can tell you facts. If we do not stand against this regime and the elites, they are going to build their own airport on the side where they are. Make sure their roads are fixed. Everything is functioning there. And while on the other side, people are suffering because we allow them to do so. We need to draw a line in the sand and stop them. Not tomorrow, now. To say it is enough. My mom says in Borodale, I hope maybe she's here. My mom always be here. She says in Borodale, she says she also have had enough. People in Zimbabwe have had enough of this regime. People are fed up. As nothing's working, and we need to put a stop to it. Not because of politics, because we deserve a country that functions. This is not a political problem. This is that tungo jairirwa nevanu va decide kutita as they want to please. We are kidnapped, and we do as these kidnappers want. We need to stop that. Put a stop to it. I also say, meanwhile, they will bask in impunity. You can see they bask. The worst part is Zanu PF elites. They bask in impunity. So after the shame of an election, where he took the money again, pretending to plead the ballot paper, which it was chaos. That dude was also given another tender where he was supposed to fix electricity. Today we don't have electricity in the country. That guy, and you'll be sitting with the stomach that goes to heaven. And sitting there disrespect our people, awarding money and be giving out money. They bask in impunity. Listen to this, in arrogance. You heard him talking. That time he was saying he's buying a chain for 1 million or 4 million if I'm wrong. 4 million if I'm not mistaken. And he was saying, no, he did won the elections. Chamisa did not win. You see the way he talks to people, like we are nothing. They do it with impunity because we allow it. It's time we put a stop to it. The arrogance because their calculus predicts such a state of paralysis as highlighted above. Expect that they forget that their greatest danger will come from their own camp as by now. Everyone in Zimbabwe has internalized that power is seized and maintained outside of the democratic processes. It borders on the political recklessness to upend democratic processes and fail to deliver economically. The absence of dictatorship are divided. Such a state of affairs means that those from the same camp who are not benefiting politically and economically will be given to plotting and executing a coup of their own. One thing that you can say, that's why I'm saying before those, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I'm not that person who's obsessed with Israel. Hear me and hear me out. I read the Bible and I understand it well. The Bible never says you must abuse people just because you're in Israel and you get away with it. It never says that. It says whatever you sow, you will reap. The Bible is clear. Israel abused the Palestinians. Those people suffered the way Zimbabweans are suffering. Zanu PF should actually draw a lesson from the war between the Palestinians and the Israelites. You can hate people, but one day is just one day. One day is one day. If ED was able to turn down, to destroy Robert Mugabe. What makes ED think that no one is going to come against him? People will. It's an issue of understanding that the law of sowing and reaping is still alive and well. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you expect to do in life. The law of sowing and reaping is alive and well. That's all I'm going to say. For those that think they'll get away with it, no, you don't get away with it. It's a matter of time. Very soon, things are going to change. And Killer Zevu said, politics in our country has been reduced to circus. Individuals are given cash to be heartless. Get this. Our future is now in the valley. Our hope is now evaporating every second. Cry the bleeding country. Your citizens are no longer listening to your painful voice. There was something that somebody said to me that was so powerful. And when I was asking, how do people get money from the regime? The guy said, no, they don't give you money the way that you people think. No. I had allegations that Jonathan, we have seen him, he's now turned against Chamisa, always speaking ill against Chamisa. I heard that allegedly was given almost $500,000 for the work that he's doing, and every month is being paid for attacking Chamisa the way that he does. He is not doing it for free, for your own information. They get paid the money because one of his daughter wanted to go to school in the UK and he didn't have money to pay the fees. That's how he got the help. So people are getting the money because they are desperate for something. The way they played the MPs and the judges, it was a bribe. We are giving them money for a loan. Loan to do what? And when are going to pay? How are they going to pay? If the economy is not functioning, how can they pay that $400,000 that they were given? How are the MPs going to pay the $4,000? What are those that were not voted in? How are they going to pay the money that you gave them? Can you see? It was a bribe. No, you're not all allegiance to the people that are controlling you. We are becoming a very toxic society that does not understand the power of purpose. That you can still fulfill purpose and even get millions if you can. If you're a hard worker, if you align yourself with the right people, you can still succeed. You don't have to belong to a certain group to succeed. It shows that you are foolish. Toxic politics is what we play for every day. We spread vile. We don't understand how to protect, to love, to believe. You know, like all of us, we have gifts and talents that God is, deposited in us, that we can still do well, regardless of our affiliations. We forget that. I don't buy into someone has to manipulate me. I'm not that kind of person. I've seen women following a person because they've got the money and they get abused just to get money. I've seen some men do that. They go after old people for money and they'll get abused for money. I don't live my life like that. You're not the one that brought me in this world. God did. You provide. That's why He's God. That's why He's the provider. We need to understand that principle. You don't have to be closer to anybody to succeed. You just have to have what it takes to succeed. You create a very toxic and evil culture that is ruining our lives today. And I was looking at Mudenda, I'm like, Mudenda, I'm very disappointed. You're a father. I thought you are smart, but your actions are showing that no. But you know why? Because you guys don't understand that whatever you are eating today is going to be poisonous in your tummies tomorrow. Because it's causing a lot of pain to most of our people. So the Speaker of the National Assembly, Advocate Job Mudenda, said the meeting went well as they assigned various members to committees to sending rules and orders to various portfolios committees as well as to the thematic committees of the Senate. So there was an issue with the CCC, and you saw the CCC guys went to deliver the letter because whenever they send emails, they don't get reply on time. They decided to went in person to hand over the letter while everyone is watching. And then let's hear what Mudenda will say from Parliament. Since the last time the letter that was sent, there was no response. They were sending the letter, counter the nonsense that is being spread by Sengezo Shabango. And let's hear what the Speaker is going to say. The letter is with Mudenda right now as we speak. Everyone is so There was proof that the letter was delivered. If it was an email, maybe we're not going to be shown the email, of course, because, I mean, emails are very private and confidential. But now, after all their ignoring of CCC's letters, they handed over the letter. And then, let's hear what he's going to say. I'm going to pretend like he didn't hear. And the Songezo, that crazy man, ordered members of parliament and councillors to attend, to report to parliament. If they don't, he's going to fire them. And I've been saying to myself, we all know that it's Zanu PF, right? It's Zanu PF at work. And it's because the moment Songezo came, they were all coming on social media supporting him. I'm like, hold on. Where are you from? You know it's your template, right? Because remember before, one of my friend told me that he's the one who gave them that idea of creating ghost accounts and employing people. There are people who are sitting right now in their offices, just replying to people on social media, maybe targeting 10 people. I see if some people assigned to me to reply to every tweet that I send out. And I will just block them. That's how Zanu PF works. They have people who are there to do their dirty work, and they get paid monthly for doing dirty work. So Songezo definitely is working with the ruling party. It's obvious. Because the attention that he got immediately, the letters that CCC is sending, Mudenda is pretending like he can't see it, but he's responding to Songezo immediately. That can show their template. What they don't realize is that the time is coming where they all have to account to the EU they've been sending, to the vial they've been spreading in Zimbabwe. The time is coming, and the time is very soon. Our people are saying we've had enough. While Sadc is doing whatever they're doing, Zimbabweans are also planning. They're also planning the pushback, because we cannot carry on with this toxicity. We can't carry on being abused by Zanu PF. And in Zanu PF as a whole party, it will be unfair. By a few people who are guys under a Zanu PF banner. A few people who are just using the party just to do their ills, just to spread vile and to hate our people. The time is coming where we have to put a stop to it. Brothers and sisters, we're not going to let this slide. While Sadc is doing what it's doing, all the diplomatic channels are being exhausted, Zimbabweans, all of us, we must come together. We need a revolution and fight back. Fight for what we know we deserve. You heard Muchangwa telling you, right? You guys must go to fight the way that we did. I hope he's going to open his mouth when we look at him, when we hold him and say, no talk. I hope he's going to be talking. You know, it's one thing got to be talking when people are quiet. But I'm waiting for a day I'm going to ask him and say, no, speak. When people are not saying, speak your nonsense, speak. Because we're not going to live this life that we are living forever. Definitely not. Our people, like I mentioned to you on Twitter yesterday, they were off. They said we will do everything in our power to get our peace. And let me tell you, we're going to be very proud of ourselves. We're going to be very proud of ourselves in the end. That's all I have right now regarding this issue of Sadc. Sadc has got their own missions. People like Chamisa and everyone else, as Zimbabwean elders, the church, are also exhausting other avenues. But you and me, as Zimbabwean people, we have a part to play. You and me, we need to do what we have to do. Is to defend the Zimbabwe we know we deserve. Is to fight for the freedom that we know we deserve. And thank you very much, guys, for joining in and for joining me this morning. I want to tell you you guys, can send me some shout out. Please drop your location. And I can tell you, a lot of people, before you leave, y'all, I've got many people here. Make sure you like the live because I need to push algorithm. Before you leave, don't you leave. Before you like the live, don't you leave. Guys, drop your location, please. I want to send you some shout out. Y'all, I'm right in Johannesburg. The weather is quite tricky today. Not too hot. It's just there and there. But really cool weather. And I love it. And someone was asking me, okay, so I'm wearing my suit. This suit I bought it from Zara. So it's a blue Zara jacket. Yeah. So I'm suiting today. It's Friday, but I'm suited. Yo, please make sure you like the live and drop your location, please. Drop your location. Let me send you some shout out. I want to tell you how much I love you. I love you so, so much, guys. Without you, yes, every time I'm live, you come and you support me. It means a lot, yo. I've seen people on live and there's nobody. And you always here and just chat with me. It means a lot. I really appreciate you. A lot is coming. Trust me. I'm a good person. I'm going to be doing quite a number of things that will excite you, actually. You'll be shocked. I'm busy working on a lot of things. Yeah, so drop your location. Let's send you some shout out. Let me actually go straight to your live right now so I can see people who are busy typing. It's easier that way than for me to read from the camera. Hi, Tekla. Shout out to you, man, my angel. Shout out to you. Good to see you. Good to see you, man. It's easier from here. Good to see you. Hi there, Florence. Good to see you. By the way, Florence, please make sure that you're going to attend the upcoming demonstrations that we are going to do. I'm going to be in Pretoria, so please just come here and say hi. I'm definitely going to come to Pretoria. So hi, Caroline. Let me just send you some shout out. This Caroline here. We've got Nessa. Shout out to you. Simba. Good to see you. Juliet. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And also, oh my God, good to see you guys. And I have Juliet, Maureen, shout out to you, man. What's up? Are you good, Maureen? It's good to see you. We have Precious. Come on. Gaetan Michaels. Good to see you. Gilbert, shout out to you. Hello, gossip lovers. Shout out to you. Yes, I can see people say coming. I'm so excited. We're going to be meeting in Pretoria. Nessa, please shout out to you. Stembile Shiri. Good to see you. BBB. Shout out to you, man. Good to see you. And also, we have Topic. Shout out to you. Fafi. Good to see you. Mike. Good to see you. Gilbert. Shout out to you, man. Kelvin. Shout out. Good to see you. Caroline. Shout out. Okay, Caroline, I sent you some shout out, didn't I? Kazamula. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Noreen. Shout out. Hope you're doing your MRG. Good to see you. We have Erisha here. Shout out to you. Joshua, good to see you. Terry, shout out to you. EM, shout out. Fafi, good to see you, man. Fafi, good to see you. Good to see you. I'm so excited. Jay, shout out. Jay Gumbo, good to see you, man. Regina, shout out to you. Akim, good to see you. Cecilia, shout out to you, man. Shout out to you, Cecilia. Lynette, do it. Good to see you, Lynette. I'm so glad to see you. MRG, good to see you. Man, some of which one do you want to repeat, actually? Jackie, good to see you. Florence, shout out. Man, Mom's Rising Up, shout out to you. Remember Electoral Services, good to see you, man. Good to see you. I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm doing absolutely incredible. I'm doing well. Yeah. Today I was actually worshiping this morning. Yeah, I had a great time. There's a song that I love, man. What's the name that I was worshiping today? What's the name of the song? So one was The Blessing. You know, The Blessing that was sang by Elevation Church. Yes. Great song. Vision, good to see you. Rachel, shout out. Lakimo, good to see you. Tinashe, good to see you. Jiri, shout out. Jiri Muzimba, okay, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Good to see you all. I'm so glad to see you guys. And thank you so much for coming around. I'm so grateful. It means a lot, really. I love you so much. I love you deeply. And I'll see you this afternoon. I'm going to be running. Thank you, man. Looking good. Thank you so much, Ashwa. Thank you. Appreciate you. I appreciate deeply. I appreciate you. It's so good to see you guys. You must send each other some love because today is Friday. I don't know what your plans are. I'm going to be around. I'm going to come back this afternoon. I'm going to run another show this afternoon and also in the evening, in the night. Trust me, I'm coming Friday night. It's a love night, so I'm coming back. Pumalanga, good to see you, Joyce. Shout out. Good to see you, man. I'm with you too. I love you so much. May the Lord bless you. I love you deeply. I do. May the Lord keep you and bless you. May God bless you. Let's pray for Zimbabwe. Let's pray for Zimbabwe. Let's pray for each other. Pray for Zimbabwe and believe in one another. Guys, don't make sure that you like the live at UNISA right now. Oh my God, how is UNISA? Are you in school? Are you a student? I hope you're doing well. You know, I hope you're doing well. Guys, I'm so glad that I hang out with you guys. I'll see you this afternoon. I'm coming back. I love you so much. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. See you later on. Bless you all. Afternoon, I'm back. I love you so much. Bless you all.